So another aspect of this, which is called the triple bottom line, is a tool that's being used by a number of organizations to broaden the perspective on a cost analysis of what it takes to create. Triple bottom line stands for not just economic or conditions, but also ecological and social aspects.
Okay, so Changing Normal is about changing the mythology, conscious choice, and consciously co-creating a new mythology that will in turn inform our decision-making processes for how we design things.
How we design and create.
Right.
And you said a key point that I think is really interesting or intriguing to me is that I feel we're at a point in our own consciousness or in the collective way we have to connect with each other that mythology up till now has been an outcome of a way of doing things that we didn't necessarily plan. We became that and we are that. Now we're going and we have the opportunity to be watchers of what emerges in our processes. So we become kind of a third eye looking at ourselves creating. And I think that's a very interesting perspective and redefines myth. So we don't know what the archetypes are going to be that emerge. And I find that especially exciting. You know, moving into the unknown and allowing that unknownness to actually be our guide rather than our frustration. Being a guide to the possibility of something incredible.
Sort of a conscious choice of archetypes, something to aspire to.
Yeah, right.
Okay. For folks who are intrigued by this kind of process that you're proposing, how do they get involved? How is Changing Normal like a portal? How do they interact with this portal, if you will, to get involved in this collective design process? How do they do it?
Number one, getting involved, becoming a member. You know, signing up is just like anything else. Getting involved starts with committing to an environment. Now we're starting out relatively slow and fairly low commitments. If you feel that you're a designer of some shape or form, not just some kind of engineer, but maybe you're an artist or a designer of some realm of community development, it'll be hard for any one of you to find out or realize that you are one. Every one of us has some form of design in creating community. So it's a matter of determining what that passion and interest and skill sets are. And sign up for one of the domains. So you become a member of ChangingNormal.com, study some of the domains and look at the ones.
Can you give us an example of some of the domains? Like, give us a dozen or so. There's 21 total, right?
There's 21 total. For example, the primary domain, or what we call the nucleus domain, Trinity set, or we like to group them in threes so that they start to interact with each other, is science, spirituality, and science, spirituality, and art.
Okay,
so
science, those are three.
And they're an interactive trinity, as we call it, looking at how science influences art, how art influences science, and how they both are influenced by spirituality. So you may choose one of those domains. What's really critical here is in the selection process, our education system has to date defined us through an assembly line kind of conditioning that says you get really good at one thing. This says that you're very passionate about one or a few things, but very cognizant of its ecology and its interconnected web and relationships into all the other domains.
Is this in somehow echoing Buckminster Fuller's expression where in his description of design science, one of the fundamental principles is that you begin with universe?
You begin very big. You start big honk, yes, way out there. If you want to grow something in your backyard or build something in your backyard, start with, about 20,000 galaxies out, think very big, and then work your way in.
In terms of design.
In terms of design.
Right, and you can to better inform a more comprehensive and in turn sustainable design. I see.
Yes.
Okay.
There's the phrase sustainable innovation in this realm. And the idea of sustainability for me is that there are guiding principles that we can use to create and design and manifest that allow the system, the ecology, the ecosystem of the planet, whether it's our human health or it's the forest, on the other side of the planet, are in general enhanced and revitalized and nurtured or nourished versus decayed or depleted. That doesn't mean things don't die off, but there is feedback loops that allow systems to sustain and evolve and thrive. So at the front end of sustainable innovation then is sustainability, which makes it a catalyst into creating new forms of innovation. So what's most exciting, I think, in the human condition is the idea of sustainability sometimes has this weight of something I gotta do or gotta change or have to be responsible for. And I rather look at it as a set of design principles that guide and feed and direct new forms, or what I like to say is next generation innovation. And out of that, a whole new realm of possibility of what we can create is before us. So sustainable innovation is a very key concept.
Okay. Coming back to how individuals can get involved and in this portal that you're creating to invite people into this design process. So the first step is sign up. The second step is to review all of the domains and to sort of pick and choose. And you keep on referring to this idea of being passionate about something, that use your deeper interests, a calling, if you will, a true passion to guide you into which of the domains you want to get involved in. And so once I choose a domain, let's say I choose science, then what do I do?
So you're probably going to have different aspects of understanding around science. And the question is looking at the changes of what was versus what is versus what's going to be. So we're very interested in change dynamic, not just the static aspects of science, but how it's changing and the trends in the movement. And we can look back and say, well, here's the trends of the way they've moved. We can't say how they're going to move into the future, but we can scenarioize, do scenarios of what's possible to move science into the future.